All right. So, first of all, many thanks to Shri Gaur Prabhuji for bestowing this opportunity to talk about Japa. I must admit that this particular space has been filled by stalwart devotees or exalted devotees in the past, and I don't think I am anywhere near to them and eligible for talking on this sublime topic of the holy names. However, as a service to all and love and respect for Sri Gaur Prabhuji, I will try to talk about my thoughts and my realizations about this sublime topic with my broken language, based on what I have learned, you know, by hearing to the exalted devotees. Uh, if I take anything, if basically you take anything home, after this particular talk or discussion, please consider that is because of the mercy of the Lord and the Guru. And if I am unable to deliver per your expectations, it's because of my inability to understand this transcendental topic and talk about it. So everything that I shall be talking is also applicable to me. So I would be, just talking my mind out, and whatever I would be saying, that would be definitely considered applicable for my own improvement of Japa also. So please do bless me so that I also can improve on my Japa. So today we shall try to cover our discussion in three sections. One is understanding the problem statement. The second is the solution, and the third one is how to implement the solutions. So the first is basically the problem statement. We all know that we are the spiritual spark and part and parcel of Krishna. And eternally, we are also, Satchit and Ananda, as Krishna is. Unfortunately, due to the influence of our association of Maya since time immemorial, we are entrapped in this material world, and which Krishna explains to be a place of misery and uncertainty. He explains the world to be dukkhalayam and ashashvatam. So, what is the option out? So, we now know the problem statement. So, what is the solution? So, the solution, as mentioned in the Brahan Naradiya Purana, in the Kali Yuga, where people are short lived and spiritually blind, the best means of spiritual realization and in turn escape from this dukkhalayam is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way, no other way, no other way. That is how it has been explained. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama eva kevalam. Kalau nasti, eva nasti, eva nasti, eva gatiranya. Why this has been stressed three times? Just to help us understand the importance of this only option. So now we know the only key or the one-time password in modern language for us to self-realize and engage in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is nothing but the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. And we have heard about the glories of the holy name and read about it, how powerful the holy name is. And I really don't consider myself to be eligible for elaborating about the glories of the transcendental names. However, I shall try to talk about some very practical aspects of getting absorbed while chanting and during the rest of the day otherwise. So if someone asks us, about japa, lot of times people ask, you do japa, what does that mean? And we tell them that, oh, we sit and we chant 16 rounds. and then for this takes around couple of hours. So is that all what means, or maybe what is japa all about? Is it like just sitting for a couple of hours and chanting 16 rounds and spend our time whatever way we want for the remainder of the day? If you go to a gym, they would say that give 1 hour of your time to me for putting yourself in shape, and you can use your rest of the 23 hours the way you want. But as far as our japa is concerned, the same principle will not be applicable. As it said, what we are today in an outcome basically is an outcome of our thoughts and our endeavors of the past. Similarly, the quality of our japa tomorrow is an outcome of how we are spending our day to day. So if we engage ourselves in passionate activities of life, like playing games, watching matches, hitting the gym for sculpting the body and looking good, not just to remain fit, or maybe passionately working at the office places to compete with others, reading and watching mundane material like newspaper, film magazines, something like that, our mind will not get connected to the transcendental vibrations of the holy name while we are actually doing the japa every morning. And our mind will be pulled by maya and engage in thoughts of material world, and we will get thoughts about things which we have spent our yesterday. So we need to acknowledge the fact that maya is the god's energy, and being god's energy, it's doing its job perfectly. We know that it is very strong, and it can basically catch a small strand of thought in our mind and then occupy the complete space in our mind, leaving no room for absorbing the holy name. Mind is such that it can basically contemplate on something and it will blow it out of proportion, and it would make you feel that there is nothing more in existence than what you are thinking. So the only way to come out of this challenge is basically to surrender to the Supreme Lord Krishna. And as mentioned in the verse 9.14 in the Bhagavad Gita, Daivi Yesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durattaya Mameva Ye Prapadyante Mayam Etam Tarantite. Mameva Ye Prapadyante. Krishna is clearly telling that you have to surrender to me, and then I would help you, swim or, come out of the, ocean of nations. Let's remember one fact, that we are all eternal servants. We were never masters, and we are never masters, and we will never be master. The only thing is that we consider ourselves to be master, but we have to remember, we have to imbibe this fact in our mind that we are the eternal servants. We were serving, we are serving, and we will continue to serve. However, the choice would be ours about whom to serve. If we serve Maya, that is Krishna's energy, it will continue to entrap us and keep us in the material world. And however, if we look up to Krishna and surrender to Krishna, trust me, Krishna will lift us and take us back home. And for that, what is that is required to be done from our end? We need to distance ourselves from the clutches of Maya. We need to also understand that if we feel ourselves that we are inattentive during the japa, we need to look at our purpose, and we may have to re-establish our purpose and try to make it a bit stronger. So if our purpose becomes weak, our mind would start its games and it would start running in all directions. Remember, our mind has two wings, one of the past and one of the future. The one of the past generally has repentance and pity, and one of the future would have uncertainty and anxiety. However, if our mind sways in the past or maybe in the future, and we need to understand that we are not in sync with our purpose, and for that we may have to ensure that we need to be in sync with our purpose. Once we are in sync with our purpose, the mind would be definitely very well controlled, because it would understand the higher purpose of doing the japa, and that would help us complete the japa more attentively. Now the practical solution would be, प्रभु जी ये कैसे करे? जो चीज अर्जुन को डिफिकल्ट लगती थी वो हम कैसे कर पाए? It will be so difficult. So the practical solution based on my understanding, my realization, is using one filter. Let's ask ourselves a question for anything and everything that we come across during the day. Whatever we do during the day, whatever we come across during the day, let's ask one question. Is this thing that I am doing, is this thing that I am coming across, will it elevate my spiritual consciousness? Will it help me take a step towards Krishna? Trust me, if we use this particular filter, we will try to refrain ourselves from engaging in the clutches of Maya. Lot of times, at the end of the day, we are human beings, and lot of times we may feel the urge to watch something like news channel or maybe some movie or something like that. However, once you start doing that and ask this question, is this something that is you know meant for my immediate self gratification, or this is helping me take one step towards Krishna? If the answer to this question is no, then try to refrain from doing these things. This may not be immediately possible to refrain from each and everything from day one, but with constant practice and with some sort of endurance, with some sort of determination, trust me, we can actually start imbibing this particular habit in ourselves. And over a period of time, we can become more conscious of what we are doing during the day. We can also reflect towards the end of the day by checking what all things that we did during the day, and which could be considered for sense gratification or which could be considered for Krishna consciousness. This could be like a balance sheet of the day. And if we know that there is imbalance, or maybe we are doing a lot of things for our sense gratification or for our on our bodily platform, we may have to again ask ourselves, how can I look into this and how can do more things about Krishna? When our kids are preparing for the exams, like important exams like NEET, JEE, and things like that, we tell them to focus and stay away from the distractions like matches, movies, social media, etc. Sometimes this is very important for them to relax. And see, the thing is, movies would be for a couple of hours, so no harm in spending a couple of hours for on the movies for the kids. But we know that the mind does not just spend 2 hours on the movie. It would start contemplating on that, and actually they would start feeling distracted. And this is exactly that we need to also understand, that we are also here preparing for the most important exam called death. And if we are not focused, if we are not spending our time in Krishna consciousness, our japa's quality is not going to be good. And if we do not do that properly, we will not graduate from here. And unfortunately, Krishna would be forced to send us back to complete this particular course. And sometimes to the lower classes also. We don't know. So we can also try to connect Krishna to most of the things that we see, we touch, we feel in our lives, and develop an attitude of gratitude. Oh Krishna, thank you so much. The moment we get up, tell Krishna that thank you so much for, awarding a new day in our lives. As many people may have, lost their lives last night. We should also be thankful to Krishna for every breath, the food we eat, for every drop of water, we are drinking. We should be thankful to Krishna for people in our lives, even for throwing challenges in our lives and giving us the strength to combat those challenges. The place where we are living, for the intelligence, for the health he has given us, for everything, trust me. This attitude of gratitude would help us make the land of our heart very fertile. And we know that in the fertile land, the seed of bhakti or devotion would grow. But we need to water it properly. By what? Water it with our chanting and serve with the attitude of gratitude. So that would help the bhakti lata in our heart to grow. Let's also be watchful of our associations. If we are associated with people, who are passionate about mundane things like sports, politics, movies, etc., we would end up doing prajalpa and spoil the quality of our japa. Once a person wanted to meet Prabhupada, and one of the devotees informed that Prabhupada is in meeting. So the person thought that instead of waiting here, let's go and take darshan of the deities in the mandir. And where he was surprised to see Prabhupada sitting alone and chanting. And when Prabhupada was done with the chanting, the person complained that the devotee has actually lied to him. He informed him that he was in a meeting, but he could actually see that he was sitting alone. To this, Prabhupada replied, he was indeed in a meeting with Krishna. So we should also ask ourselves, do we really value our time with Krishna when we are doing the japa? Although in material life, a person who is doing multitasking is valued and acclaimed more. During japa, it may be, it is transcendental, and we should only focus on the japa and not any other material activities like driving japa. Oh, here is the billboard. Oh, Vidya Balan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Oh, Kareena Kapoor, Hare Krishna, Krishna. No, that's not going to help. Walking japa. Let's do japa and, simultaneously also build my health. Because the focus is on health and not on japa. Mobile japa, you get distracted by, mobile. There is a message and you tend to respond to that. For Mataji's, cooking japa and things like that. So we should try to avoid multitasking during our japa. And by doing the japa, what we are doing is we are inviting Krishna in our hearts. And if we are not attentive to him, he may feel insulted, he may feel unwanted, he may feel ignored. And ask this question to ourselves. Would we wait at a place where we get such type of feelings? Insulting, unwanting, and ignored. So how can we expect Krishna to, wait in such type of place? So if we are meeting a very important person, how would we prepare for that meeting? Maybe, we will start preparing a few days in advance, right? So we shall remain very attentive at the time of the meeting also. We will be very cognizant of what the person is saying, how we respond, what is our body language, and things like that, right? So when we are meeting and when we are inviting the Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, how can we be ignorant? As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham mama vartaman anuvartante manushyaha partha sarvasha. Krishna reciprocates as we approach him. So if we are disrespectful to him at the time of meeting with Krishna, if we are engaged in other thoughts, how can we expect Krishna to not reciprocate in the same manner? And how can we expect Krishna to bestow his mercy upon us? But luckily, Krishna is Surudhum Sarvabhutana. And even someone chants his name inattentively, he may bestow his mercy. And we know that he did the same thing in the case of Ajamal. But we may not be as lucky. And we need to develop a sense of urgency and respect the time with Krishna. And trust me, if we miss to catch this now, we may have to pass through all the 8.4 million species again to be at the human platform and then try to self-realize. At that time also, we don't know what could be the outcome. So let's remind ourselves that this is the time, this is the time that we are on this path and we have to get best out of it. So how to do this? A lot has been talked about the posture, the pronunciation, and hearing. So we need to, incorporate what we have heard from all the exalted devotees, and be mindful of our posture, our pronunciation, and what we hear. Prior to Japa, let's be in a very prayerful mood and request Radharani and Krishna to bless us and help us to have focus, to chant clearly, to hear attentively. Once we surrender to them, the mind would remain in their custody, and then that would help us be more attentive. Only with their mercy and blessings, our obstinate mind can be controlled. Feel that, you are, locked in a room and the door can only be opened from outside. So, what would be the intensity of our cry? In that mood, request Radharani and Krishna, you know, we are resentful, Radharani. We are, not feeling great of our past deeds. And we would like to be engaged in their loving devotional service and beg to them for their mercy to be awarded. Let's also understand that we don't have to do japa for any material gains. Oh, I'm doing this japa, but I want, this car. I want this house. My kids should learn in Oxford. No, we have to do japa to please Krishna. And trust me, Krishna is Rishikesha. He is already sitting in our hearts. He knows what is best for us, and he would definitely bestow, the things that you need or you require. Every bead that we are doing the japa, feel the transcendental names are flowing from the Goloka and they are dancing on our tongues. And via our ears, they are entering our heart and they are, enlightening our heart with light, knowledge, happiness, and gratitude. We can also visualize that every Mahamantra that we are doing, the Bhakti Lata in our heart is growing inch by inch, and it is reaching finally to Krishna's lotus feet, which is the destiny of all of us. The key basically is to treat the holy name as a person. बहुत बार सुना है कि holy name is a person, होली नेम इज अ पर्सन, लेकिन उसको पर्सन की तरह ट्रीट कैसे करें सर? So, to develop a good relationship with a person, what is needed? We know that we need to treat the person with love, with care, with attention, with lot of respect, and have faith. So these are the five qualities that would help us build a very good relationship with the person. So just imagine if you're talking to someone and if the person is busy looking at his phone, how does it feel? Similarly, the holy names would feel if we are multitasking or get engrossed in other thoughts. So we need to avoid this aspect and feel the presence of the holy names and treat them with love, care, attention, respect, and faith. So please keep this in mind, this LCARF. Let's also be consistent in our japa. Sometimes people do japa and there is on and off. Remember that Krishna is complete and is not in need of anything, or he does not want anything, and this include us also. So the magic pill to control the mind is only Krishna's mercy, but we need to be consistent and sincere in our endeavor to attract Krishna's mercy. So we all need to be reminded, coming on this path and chanting the holy name of the Lord itself is the mercy of the Lord, and we should not take it for granted. Let's encash this. Let's ensure that we show our persistence and sincere endeavors. We also need to be reminded of the Shishashtakam and imbibe the qualities mentioned in the same. If we do not get elevated from the bodily platform and give away the demoniac qualities like pride, arrogance, conceit, lust, anger, greed, it would be impossible for us to be elevated to the spiritual platform and be absorbed in Krishna's devotion. So let's also be mindful of these qualities which would pull us down. So try to elevate from these qualities. In a nutshell, basically, if we want to ensure we do japa properly, we need to ensure we are consistent, attentive, be watchful of what we eat. If necessary, declutter things in life. For developing consistency, if you need an accountability partner, please find one. You can start decluttering from your desk, from your wardrobe, from your car, etc. Try to release unnecessary past baggage in your minds by methods like journaling. That would also, help your mind be completely clear. Also, let's be watchful of our association. And if we feed in our brain and mind, during the day, all the material things, the same things would come during the japa. So to quickly improve japa, please do consider, visiting temple at least once in a week and attend the Mangala Arati. And after the same, sit amongst the devotees and do japa. And lastly, I would like to conclude that, the destination and the path of chanting is chanting itself. What would we do when we reach Krishna's abode? Chanting the holy name of the Lord and engage ourselves in the service. So we are doing the same thing here also. So let's be grateful for the same and remain consistent to please Krishna by our sincere endeavors. By following the instructions of our Guru, associate with devotees and continue to read and hear books like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and other important scriptures. And most importantly, let's align our life per our japa schedule and not adjust japa per our life schedule. This is very, very important. So I think this is time for me to, sign off. So thank you again so much for providing me this opportunity to talk about this most sublime topic and share my thoughts. And thank you so much for listening to a neophyte devotee like me. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful nectarian talk. We are really inspired, like we are completely charged for half an hour or so, and more than half. Really
Thank
great. Okay. So yeah, we touched upon many points actually. Like you organized the whole section, the problem statement, solution, and how to implement. The kind of practical tips you are given really practical, I would say. Highlighted that we should not be too much passionate about it and our work and not be unnecessarily indulged in a lot of mundane things. That really helps for Japa. If you are too much material engrossed, naturally our Japa quality also will be destroyed. And that LCADF RF concept also you very well explained. You have to have love, care, and attention. Then a lot of respect you should have with Krishna. Then faith also is the basic ingredient. Yeah. Very much practical. So we are really inspired. Thank you very much.
you so much. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
The floor is open for questions. Everybody has to can ask. They can unmute themselves, ask, or otherwise they can put their questions in text. Chat. Very good relations, Prabhuji. We are so inspired.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Maharaj. Thank you. All right. If there are no questions, let's adjourn this. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the Krishna conscious day. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Thank